The first president of the United States, George Washington. George Washington, the first president of the United States, is a central figure in the nation's history, which has long been a global leader in politics and economics. Aristocratic roots in early life. The Washington family hailed from the English aristocracy and had a family coat of arms. Washington's great-grandfather, John Washington, fled England in 1656 to escape persecution under Oliver Cromwell's regime. Settling in Virginia, he began cultivating tobacco, a cornerstone of the Southern American economy at the time. George Washington was born in 1732 to Augustine Washington, a planter and soldier. He grew up on his father's plantation, which relied heavily on enslaved African labor, a practice that remains a contentious aspect of the Founding Fathers' legacy, including Washington's own. Loyalty to Britain and early military career. Before the American Revolution, George Washington was a loyal subject of the British Crown. He served in the British Army during the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, fighting against French forces and Native Americans. Washington described Native Americans as wild and treacherous, comparing their tactics to wolves. After the war, he returned to Virginia with the rank of colonel and focused on developing his Mount Vernon plantation, which he inherited from his father. At its peak, the plantation was worked by 60 to 130 enslaved individuals, reflecting the labor-intensive nature of plantation agriculture. Tensions with Britain and the road to revolution. Discontent between American colonists and the British government began to grow in the mid-18th century. A key point of contention was the Stamp Act of 1765, which imposed taxes on printed materials such as books, newspapers, and even playing cards. The tax was seen as unfair and absurd by many colonists. Additional tariffs on imported goods from Britain further fueled the dissatisfaction. Washington joined others in advocating for a boycott of British goods. The American Revolution, also known as the War of Independence, 1775 to 1783, was sparked by events like the Boston Tea Party of 1773, when colonists protested the British-imposed tea tax by dumping shipments of tea into the Boston Harbor. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," first articulated by Benjamin Franklin in 1754, became a rallying cry for the colonists. Leadership during the Revolution. On June 14, 1775, George Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, the precursor to the modern U.S. Army. The war's outcome was uncertain at times, but it ultimately ended with the colonists' victory and the establishment of the United States in 1783. Washington's leadership during the conflict cemented his status as a national hero. Presidency and nation building. In 1789, George Washington was unanimously elected the first president of the United States, serving 2 terms until 1797. He was re-elected in 1792. His administration included key figures from the independence movement, such as John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, Henry Knox, and Thomas Jefferson. During his presidency, Washington oversaw the establishment of the U.S. Mint and the National Bank, laying the foundation for the nation's financial system. In foreign policy, he pursued neutrality in European conflicts and led military campaigns against Native American tribes. Tash, legacy and controversy. Washington, a slaveholder, played a pivotal role in creating a country synonymous with freedom. This paradox continues to spark debate. His involvement in the institution of slavery contrasts with his efforts to shape a nation founded on the principles of liberty and democracy. George Washington's leadership during the Revolution and his presidency shaped the early United States, establishing a legacy that endures as a cornerstone of American history. Despite the contradictions and complexities of his life, he remains a symbol of the country's origins and aspirations.